Welcome, everybody. Hold on. Jeff Abramowitz here, Rise and Shine podcast. I am so excited to be here. Adult Education and Family Literacy Week for 2024. And we are waking everybody up in this country to get them excited all about Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. And I will tell you, quite frankly, that I want to show you evidence that this is actually a thing. I'm holding in my hand a resolution from our United States Senate, and in there it is a proclamation resolution that says from the September 15th through the 21st, we're going to be National Education and Family Literacy Week across the country. Really excited about being here. My name's Jeff Abramowitz. I'm going to be hosting you every single morning at 9 o'clock this week. And really important, adult education in our country is so important for the vitality of our country. But we have 51 million adults that are low skilled in literacy, 75 million are low skilled in numeracy, and 43 million lack basic skills to compete in the workforce. All of these things need a representation, and in order to really build a good workforce, as well as get people smarter in our country, it's so important that we invest in adult education across all different sectors. And you're going to be hearing from people in the labor fields today, in adult education, and you'll hear from employers, and you're going to hear from a whole host of people that really can confirm on the ground how important adult education is for changing the lives of so many people. A big shout out to COABE, the Coalition on Adult Basic Education, which represents over 79,000 educators in the country and is just doing a remarkable job in making sure people are aware of how important this is and making change happen. So I'm thrilled to be here. I'm really excited, but I also want to make sure that we get to all of our guests. We only have about an hour for the Rise and Shine podcast every day. So I want to get ready for our very first guest, and I'm going to bring her on right now. Our first guest today is Ahu Moser from Adult Education. She's the Adult Education Program Specialist at the Maryland Department of Labor. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. So you're our very first guest, and you're kicking us off, and it can't be more appropriate topic for you in particular. Can you first introduce yourself to our audience that's out there, and can you share a little bit about the work you do?
Sure, of course. My name is Ahu Moser. I am one of the adult education program specialists at Maryland Department of Labor, and I am also a long-time ESL instructor in adult ed. So what I do basically is that I work with an amazing team who oversees Title II adult education programs in Maryland. We do our utmost best to give them the support in anything that they need, whether it is data, professional development, or it's about the stewardship of the grant that we provide to them. So they're all amazing adult education programs in Maryland, and we are so grateful that we are supporting them.
Yeah, so thank you so much. So I believe that for the longest time, our departments of labor and our departments of education didn't really recognize how blended together they needed to be in order to help people be successful. And we're finally at a point where we're getting it. And our departments of labor are working so close with our adult education providers across the country to realize that in order to be successful in a career pathway, you need basic math, reading skills, and digital literacy skills, and all those things that go in. So can you give me a little bit, why is it that adult literacy is so important from the work and the perspective that you see?
Well, I think, the adult education is so important because it's really, for me also, I think for my colleagues in my division, I am sure they will say the same thing, is that we are really connecting the puzzle pieces of the adult education. Whether we do get our learners who are pursuing their high school equivalency, or whether we are welcoming our uh, you know new neighbors who do come from other countries. We do provide them ESL instruction, or the instruction in pursuing their high school diplomas or the career education, and also the big importance is that the digital literacy skills, and there are so many and so many other things about the apprenticeships, how they are also linked to career education, and also all the things that we do. I think all the pieces are all together. With one of them missing, I don't think that it is going to be completed for our adult ed students and our local programs.
Wow. So it's so important, I think, that everyone understand that we talk about adult education and adult literacy, that we're not really just talking about math and reading. We're talking about all these things that play a role in helping people be successful. And you hit on a really big one, which is digital literacy. And we're talking a lot about that today
Mhm.
because of the Digital Equity Act that's launched across the country and helping people provide that support and beginning to recognize it. Can you tell us a little bit about how important digital literacy is and the work that you're doing and what do you see happening in the field?
Of course, I can say that, I think as the division or as Maryland, we are really trying to get ahead of the curve. For our Title II programs, we have this digital literacy framework. I have my coworkers, they are really working, reorganizing, and pushing the initiatives around the digital literacy framework. We have so many courses. We are in pursuit of LMS, and then we have the other work. We really are believing the importance of digital literacy, even for our learners who are at the very low literacy of the English. So I think it is environment of the new era after COVID, post-COVID. I think we cannot think of anything without the importance of digital literacy and then the work of the digital literacy. So it is a big important thing. It's a big focus for us that we integrate in whatever we do.
I love it. Yeah, it's so important. This week is Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, not just in Maryland, but across the
Mhm,
country. And every state is doing something to recognize how important this is. And
mhm,
the importance of adult education is in their community, helping build a strong community. But I'm curious from your perspective, if you had to a message that you wanted legislators to really hear this week,
mhm.
what is it that you want people to understand about adult education and the work that you do?
Yeah, I think, one thing that I would love our legislators really recognize or see it again is that nothing is possible without the adult education. Some people are under the assumption that our students come with, of course, the challenges and maybe some drawbacks, but we are all building on the assets that our adult education students bring, whether they are so new, whether they are illiterate, or whether they are so close to obtaining their goals. I do not think that any industry is going to continue thriving without adult education and the importance of adult education. So that's why the work that we do, the work that our adult education programs do, they are unmatched. And we do need to support, we really need to support our learners because there is a huge need.
Sure do, sure do. I every year I bring with me my magic wand.
Uh-huh,
It's kind of looks like a green and white pen, but I have it
uh-huh,
here. Every year I bring this with me because I want people to be able to imagine using the wand to fix some of the issues that we face when it comes to adult literacy and adult education in our country. So today I want to give you the magic wand. I'm gonna give it to you. I don't give it to everybody, but I'm gonna give it to you this morning because we're gonna kick us off.
uh-huh.
And if there were something that you'd be able to change using this magic wand, what would it look like?
Oh my goodness. Do I have to use it only for one thing? I have so many things
I'll
that
give you a
I
few. Go ahead.
give me a few. All right. So I think one of the most important things for me is that we are really shedding this light on the adult education, and especially this week on adult education and family literacy week. But I think one thing that I really would love to see that how welcoming we are, and I really would for all of us to welcome our new neighbors to our communities and then give them the that comfort that our adult education programs are ready to serve them for them to reach their goals. I think that's my one thing, that it is very important. So we are so welcoming, and then we know what their needs are, and then we need to continue the work that we do. And of course, if it is the money related, I wish money was never with my
Of
wand,
course.
magic wand. I wish, we could do everything that we could do. But I think adult educators, adult education programs, I think we do have superpowers. We are doing things with limited resources oftentimes, and I wish that we didn't have that issue about not dealing with the money situation. But we do need the support, and then we need to continue to create that welcoming environment, whether they are ESL learners or whether they are GED learners, or we need to provide that safe space for our learners. We need to continue with that.
Well,
I'm
just
saying it because I'm an immigrant, right? So that's why it is very important to be seen and to be heard and to be understood and to be on this good pathway to get my goal.
Yeah, I think our English language learners in our country, first of all, you should know that I'm watching our chat boxes as well, and you've lit it all up with that with those comments. So you're hitting a really great spot, because the truth is that English as a second language is really important in our country as we work with people that are integrating back into our communities, and really going to be a force in our workforce and helping us fill a lot of needed jobs throughout the country. So I really, I think it's amazing that we were really putting focus on it this week and highlighting it. Is there something that you would suggest, and for the people that are listening, what is it that they can do that might be able to help move the needle?
What I would say is that, sometimes we need more patience or we need more grace. Take your time to understand the needs of your learners. It doesn't matter if they are ESL students, or those students who are seeking their high school diplomas, or those seeking, credentials. What is going to be the best pathway? It is okay to refer our students to other places, but it is not about like, I can help, I can take it kind of thing. It's about how can this student get the support that they need, right? So I think having that open mind, it is important, to have that the caring atmosphere towards these individuals, because they are our neighbors. I always see them as our neighbors, whatever their educational backgrounds and their experiences are. So when we help them, the more we help them, the more our communities thrive, and then they do have more resources to support their families and such. So we are all connected to each other. I think we need to realize that.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I have to tell you, I can't think of a better way to start off this week in this podcast than really talking about something that's so important. And I will tell you, I'm just excited. We have a lot of people from COABE and others that are in the chat box adding in, and people, you're getting a lot of yeses, a lot of I can't agree more, and narratives about the subject. So thank you so much for being with us. Super work you're doing with the Department of Labor in Maryland, and continue doing it. It's great work. And again, thank you for being on. I'm looking forward to seeing more about what's happening in Maryland in the coming months and years. So
So,
thank you. I want to, before we're going to let Ahu go, but before we bring our next guest on, I just want to tell you that this week is just chock full of stuff. So I'm really excited today. Obviously, we kicked off our Rise and Shine podcast, but on Monday, today at 11 o'clock, you want to tune in on COABE. We have our kickoff with Dr. Amy Lloyd, the Assistant Secretary of Education for OCTAE, the U.S. Department of Education. We have Latoya Newsom, Director of Adult Education for the Office of the Department of Education. We have Shaketa Thomas, who's on, and she's our amazing president at COABE, and also Sharon Bonney, our CEO. So I want to make sure that you tune in for that. It's 11 o'clock today. And then tomorrow, we're kicking off a legislative breakfast here in Washington, D.C. I am here in Washington this week. And then we're going to be charging up on the Hill and seeing all of our legislators and giving them a little bit of our information about Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. And at 2 o'clock, there's going to be a webinar on advancing adult education and workforce development outcomes through learner-centered, employer-focused research. So you want to check that out. On Wednesday, there's also a webinar in the afternoon. These are at 2 o'clock, Empowering Adult Learners, Grants, Leadership, and Community Engagement. And on Thursday, it's Get Out the Vote. So you want to check that out. And Friday, we end up with our Fab Friday. We do it all the time, which is our state advocates for adult education fellows and our SAAEF, our State Association Leadership Institute. They're going to be coming together and sharing all the awesomeness that happens all week long. So Ahu, thank you so much for joining us.
What an honor to be here. I wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, and give yourself some grace. You are all amazing and you are all rock stars. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're going to, well, we were supposed to go to our next guest. I'm not sure if Michelle is in the green room yet, but Michelle Gilliard from IBM Skills Build was supposed to be coming up. I don't know if our visitor or our guest after that, Vicki Greene, is in the back room, but we can bring her in if possible. There's Michelle. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. Nice to see you. I'm doing well. How are you?
Michelle, it is great to see you. And I am super excited about having this conversation in particular. And we'll talk about our discussion. But why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and to Ahu, who's hanging on with us, which we love that. And tell us a little bit about what you do behind the scenes.
Sure. Great. So good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Gilliard, and I'm the corporate social responsibility leader at IBM Americas. And what that means is that I oversee the implementation of all CSR initiatives across the Americas region. And for IBM, the Americas include Canada, the US, and then throughout Latin America. And I support the implementation of our programs such as IBM Skills Build, our Sustainable Accelerator, our Service Corps program, and volunteerism. I'll let people know that our Global Month of Impact is starting soon in October, and so we're real excited about that. And IBMers across the world will be engaged in their local community, supporting a variety of volunteer initiatives.
I love it. Michelle, thank you for taking some time this week. You are our second guest on Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, Rise and Shine podcast. We are waking up the country to tell them how important it is this week in particular to really focus on adult education across the country. And I want to talk to you, first of all, I want to thank you because IBM Skills Build has been just a wonderful program through COABE. And we're so proud of your sponsorship and the work we do together with IBM and recognizing it. But there are a few things that I want to kind of get you rolling on today. And the first is to talk about AI and AI skills. And is there a skills gap that IBM sees, and what can people do about it?
Sure, Jeff. So this is a really important question, and there is a skills gap, and we all really need to be aware of it. So AI literacy is becoming critically important for all jobs. IBM research has shown that technology modernization was ranked second highest priority by CEOs. There's another study out there from 2022, not an IBM study, but from Global Talent Crunch, that talks about 85 million jobs potentially going unfulfilled by 2030. And so this is a critical issue that we all need to work on. We believe that 80% of enterprises are reporting to be planning to or already working and adopting generative AI. And so it creates a real demand for AI literacy. From IBM's standpoint, it's why we're doing what we do. IBM Skills Build is a global education program. It is a platform where people can get free education content. We have a focus on adult learners in particular, along with high school students and teachers and college and university faculty, and it provides an opportunity for people to have online learning that's complemented by practical learning experiences that are delivered in collaboration with global networks like partners like COABE. And so in terms of AI in particular, we have a variety of courses on generative AI and traditional AI. There was recently a Forbes article that talked about the 3 most important skills employees are looking for: prompt engineering, data analysis, and really learning at being a forever learner, all long time learning. And so on IBM Skills Build, we offer courses in all of these areas and more.
That is so, it's so remarkable. I just I'm just so I'm so excited about AI and everything it brings to the table, especially when it comes to adult education and adult literacy. I just finished a number of books on AI and education and really focusing on the awesomeness and what it could do for adult learners. And many adult learners are visual learners. They like to see it, they like to touch it, and to be able to learn fractions and ask a prompt, I don't know how to do fractions, and all of a sudden a pizza pops up and you're eating half the pizza and then you're understanding what 50% means or half of it. It's just remarkable what it can do going forward for adult learners and really helping them. And I'm curious from your eyes and the work that you do at IBM, can you give us an example like of IBM Skills Build, and how does it help adult learners to achieve their goals? What does it do?
Sure. So I think one of the important things to know about IBM Skills Build is that we really try to meet people where they are. And so we have 3 different levels of education. We have kind of a foundational level, which is just kind of technology exploration. We have another level that's around domain exploration. And so that's really where AI and traditional AI comes in, as well as cybersecurity, cloud, web development, other areas. But we also try to do things like demystify AI. And so just this past last 3 months, we ran a All America's Demystifying AI with IBM web series. And in this web series, it covered all the areas I mentioned before: Canada, the US, and Latin America. And we had subject matter experts explain the differences between AI and generative AI. We took questions. The message was, we can't be afraid of this. We need to learn how to use this. We have 30 like really short micro courses. We have some like 30-minute courses on how AI is used in things like entertainment. So think about going to a major venue where you're seeing, any act that you might really love. And they'll talk about how AI is used in ticket sales. They'll talk about how AI uses just the experience around you. It'll talk about how AI is learned or applied in every single area of that experience. And it's just a really fun way to learn about it. We also have the same thing for sports. So, the US Open just ended. There's one on tennis. There's also one on the NFL now that football season is in play. And so there's just different kinds of ways that we can see how AI is used. So you talked about kind of like chatbots where you can like ask questions and then get the answer real quick. And so we kind of demystify that and explain that for people on Skills Build.
So I think that's part of the issue nationally. Honestly, when we talk about AI, it's just the unknown. I don't think that we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate the public, our learners, and let them know the resources that are out there, such as for IBM Skills Build and the work that IBM is doing. It's interesting. I'm just following our chat boxes, our chat dialogue as well. And you should know that we actually have folks on from Zambia. We are getting all over the world, and IBM's getting out there sharing a lot of this. But it does take education. It takes us really being intentional about thinking, how can we use AI to help support our adult learners in education? What does it look like? And then really digging in and doing it, like getting off your butt and kind of just logging in and figuring out. And IBM Skills Build just makes it so simple and so easy to do. Especially you can even access it through the COABE website. So you got to check that out. But we're sitting here in Washington, D.C. this week. And really excited about that because, we're going up on the Hill. We're talking federal policy, things that how we can make change happen and shape our workforce going forward. And I'm curious from IBM's perspective, what kind of recommendations would you like to see IBM make to support adult literacy up on Capitol Hill or even locally?
So IBM has long advocated for the alignment between higher education and workforce development laws on in-demand skills and work-based learning opportunities. And this is particularly important for the adult learning community. And so we believe that education and job training systems need to be flexible and adaptable to meet today's market demands. Adult learners are not necessarily going back to school to get a degree. They need to have access to quality online training and educational experiences. And so in that, we support the modernizing of the Workforce Opportunity and Innovation Act, also known as WIOA to many people. We want to have expanded Pell Grants for short-term, high-quality skilling programs. We need the National Apprenticeship Act to be updated. It was last enacted in 1937, so there's time for a new update there. And we really promote skills first hiring in the federal government and on federal contracts. And we believe that all of these kind of policy positions can help adult learners and all learners gain access to the skills that are needed for today's workforce.
Yeah, you just hit so many buttons there. Again, I think our chats weren't going crazy with some of them, but some of the things that we really need to be thinking about are, in particular, WIOA and WIOA reauthorization. It doesn't happen every week. It doesn't happen every year. And we really need to be getting legislators mindful of the Workforce Innovation Act and Opportunity Act, what it means and how we need to change it. If we're going to stay up with the times, we need to make some changes, and IBM is standing at the forefront of that, as is COABE. The other thing you mentioned was apprenticeships. And I kind of think it's like the greatest tool that we have in our toolbox, and yet is often one of the least used, at least across the country. Getting employers to recognize apprenticeships and its importance is so important, and yet just is not been really we've not been grasped by by employers across the country of how impactful an apprenticeship can be. So yeah, looking at the legislation on apprenticeships, also super important. And then the Skills First initiative. So I've been asking some of our guest today, or our last guest at least, what they would like to see changed and how they'd like to go about it. But I'm going to change it up for you a little bit, because I'd like to know from IBM's perspective. I love the fact that they're finally embracing adult education and adult literacy, because I do think that that's going to drive the workforce of tomorrow, is getting people, look, right now, today, we have more jobs out in the country than we have people to fill them. And in the next few years, adult education, those that need adult skills in digital literacy and basic math and reading, those are the kind of things that are going to be game changers for a lot of families. From IBM's perspective, how important is adult literacy and adult education? And what advice would you give people out there, other employers like IBM? I mean, the big guys. What do you want to get them to do in the future moving forward?
So I think the first thing is really focusing on skills first, and recognizing that getting access to high quality education training like we offer on Skills Build is going to be quickly important, and that all employers have a role to play in this. You can do it different ways. We have what we call our new collar programs, which is some apprenticeship programs and other ways in which getting people who maybe have left the job market to raise families can get back into the job market. This affects women in particular. And so we want to do things like that. But we really think that, providing information, and people are starting at lots of different places. And so IBM Skills Build is a place where you can come in and begin learning from the most foundational level, and then begin to move and advance. We offer credentials and certificates that are recognized in the market. These are really important. Other employers can do this as well. We have others out there already in doing this, but we obviously need more. And so I think it's a combination of being committed to bringing people in through alternative routes. So not just through getting an undergraduate degree and then going on, but even in technology, there are ways that you can get into this field where it doesn't require an undergraduate degree. You can have a high school diploma. You can add courses on top of that. You can use Skills Build. You can use other certificates. It's just a really important way to help adult learners in particular. And we offer over 1,000 courses. They're in 19 languages. And I think the important thing to also recognize is that with Skills Build, it's not just the emerging technology. We absolutely have IT and artificial intelligence and cybersecurity and data science, but we also have the professional skills. And this is where people also need help. And if they've not been looking for a job for a long time, and they need to kind of refresh how to go about doing a job, how to engage in critical thinking, how to think about design thinking, all of these kinds of skill sets that are common in today's workforce, you can gain access to the certificates that help you demonstrate that new knowledge through IBM Skills Build.
I just love it. And the easiest way, first of all, you should know it's free, correct?
It is free. Everything is free.
There's so many things in this world that cost so much money, but this is free, and this is life-changing. So you want to get in and check out IBM Skills Build, and you can do that through a number of portals. If you just Google IBM Skills Build, I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up there. But if you go on
skillsbuild.org.
Yeah, there you go. Skillsbuild.org. Easy way to get there. And thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us today. for Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. And thank you for your partnership and IBM's partnership with COABE. We truly appreciate all the great work that's being done. And you should know that we're in the field and we see it changing lives. And that's really incredible. So keep up the amazing work. And thanks to everybody at IBM.
Thank you, Jeff. It's delightful to be with you this morning. And I appreciate the partnership we have with COABE. We're excited about what we can do together.
Awesome. We're just tip of the iceberg. Just wait. A lot more coming. So we have Michelle Gilliard. Thank you so much from IBM. Our next guest coming up is going to be Vicki Greene. But before we bring her on, I just want to mention a few things. Number one is that COABE estimates that for every $1 invested in adult education in the community receives back $60 in return in income, property taxes, and in saving of legal expenses and welfare expenses and things like that. So really incredible the work that is being done in the adult education field across the country, and the return on investment. You know, when we can spend money to really invest in the community and invest in our adults and to get them smarter, well, gosh, the next step is just making stronger communities across the country. I am super excited to have our next guest on. Vicki Greene is the CEO and president of GED Testing Service. And good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you? Good to see you. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Adult Education and Family Literacy Week and Rise and Shine. We're waking everybody up this morning, getting them all excited about the rest of the week and making change happen. And I will tell you, so I'm kind of a huge fan. I think GED Testing Service. I was an adult educator. I taught GED prep and also basic math for adult learners in Philadelphia for a long time. And GED Testing Service was in the center of a lot of the work that I did, and really truly appreciate all of the great work of GED Testing Service, and appreciate your partnership with COABE over the years. You guys have been at all of our conferences and presenting and sharing all the great things that are happening. And we're here talking adult education, and gosh, I can't think of a more impactful organization than those people that are actually helping that providing the target that we need to hit the bullseye on and passing the GED or high school equivalency, so we can get that credential to move on, whether it's post-secondary or into the workforce. And first of all, I was wondering, Vicki, if you could start by just sharing a little bit about GED Testing Service and what they really are, because I think we always use the words GED, and it's really part of the high school equivalency certification process. But I'm going to turn it over to you for a second and tell us a little bit about the work you do.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you for all that you did as well. We know that the GED in its existence doesn't exist without all of the adult educators out there helping all of the learners who need assistance. Sometimes learners need a gamut of solutions. And so we know the adult educators are really that source of just confidence and someone that they can rely on, someone that really is just there for them when they need any kind of help in their educational journey and life journey. So first and foremost, thank you for that. And all the educators listening. At GED, you know, it is a household name. Everyone knows and recognizes the GED brand. And today, for the first time ever, we have National GED Day. And this is the first time that we've done that. And really why we've done that is that we want to celebrate the success of every GED learner, every GED educator, everyone that's been impacted by the GED one way or another. And what we know is that there's still 40 million adults out there looking to earn their GED. And what we know is that our work's not done and that we're just getting started. And so National GED Day is a great way for us to really celebrate the GED learner and just to get everyone talking about the importance of education and the importance behind how we can help get every single adult out there, their high school diploma. And, you know, the thing for me and why I love being part of the GED, and you said a little bit about it, Jeff, is that, you know, what we know and recognize is that and because someone learned one way, or because K through 12 didn't work for one learner, doesn't mean one's good or one's bad. At the end of the day, it's all around education. And so my role at GED and everyone at the organization is really, how can we reach more learners? How can we build their confidence and really get them to see the skills and the abilities that they need, and then help them get onto the path of another, you know, post-secondary or into a career or a job.
So the GED has so many. So first of all, there's not many things in our country where you associate the name or the brand with the company itself. And
Yeah.
GED has been able to do that. The one that I think of most common we can all relate to is Google. To Google or to Google something is a verb, but when we say Google, we think of the company immediately. And same thing with GED. It's built this reputation of really representing adult learners and helping them transition from quite high school equivalency, post-secondary, or into the workforce. And it's just a wonderful organization. And thank you again for your partnership. I want to talk to you about a few issues though. One is, the fact that GED and GED testing service has been the forefront of really helping people to educate themselves and work within the system of adult education, adult literacy. But I think if we dig down, why is it that the high school equivalency or GED, why is it that that's so important for people?
Well, it's so important for so many reasons. When you think about it, every single human out there knows and wants an education. Everyone wants the basic needs, and we know that getting your high school diploma is really the start of your educational journey. It's also one of those things for many adults that I've talked to. I've talked to thousands of adults out there who may have left high school for lots of reasons, and maybe that's one thing that I just want to get known is that when someone decides to leave high school, it can be for a lot of reasons, most of which are not because they're not intelligent, most of which is not because they don't want to be in school or because they're lazy. It's actually the polar opposite. What we find is that most of our adult learners leave because they have parents that may need assistance. They may need to get a job. They may have someone that's sick in their family. They may have severe mental illness that the school system is really just not able to support them. They may get bullied. They may have lots of life circumstances that are in the way. And so really, this isn't necessarily about someone leaving high school. It's really around how do we start meeting every learner where they're at and helping them accomplish their educational goals based upon how they learn, not necessarily can they sit in a seat for a K through 12 system from start to finish.
Wow, you're getting a ton of applause now from our viewing audience. People really can connect with that. And the truth is that there are many reasons why adult learners drop out of or don't complete school and don't get their high school equivalency, and many of them are just about life.
It's
Just
life. That's right.
children, family, other obligations, and also for some, it's just that not having that support of adult educators in the country that say you can do it, you can do it. I just wish in my wish list of things is that I could share with the country all of the faces of people that have received their GED and the unbelievable excitement that they have when they get that pass. And when they see that, gosh, I can do this, I can do this, I can even do math, and really dig in. And the one thing I love about the GED testing service and the platform is, quite frankly, it helps you succeed. You give everyone the tools you need to pass the exam and to make it very real and tangible. So I kind of love that. We're here at Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, and what is it that GED testing service wants to get everyone in the country understanding about adult education?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite questions because one of the things that sometimes we all love to do is get in our little circle and stay in our circle and not see outside of our circle. And what I would say is that it takes everybody. And it takes everybody to see individuals for who they are. And then on the reverse is it takes one person. And I talk about this all the time. It takes one person to believe in you and to invest in you. And what I want everyone to know is when I look at the GED learner, and this is my wish for everyone out there, is when I look at the GED learner, I see someone that's resilient. I see someone that's determined. I see someone that wants someone to invest in them and believe in them. I see someone that needs confidence. Not confidence necessarily in their ability, but in themselves. A lot of times, even when I look at my three kids, when you ask them, what are you really good at? Not everyone knows what they're good at, and not everyone understands maybe where their skills rely or are. And so how can we start investing in the human capital side of people, giving them the confidence, showing them the skills and the abilities that they have? And the GED learner, in most cases, if not the majority of cases, their life circumstances have actually already put them on a path to success and they don't even know it. Because what they had to overcome, what they had to do to get to where they're at, that's why you see them celebrating at the GED graduations. Because they may have had a life circumstance that they've been struggling with for years. And now not only did they get over that life circumstance, but now they achieved their GED. And what we know is it takes time. It takes a lot of effort. And the thing that we love about every GED learner is, number one, they showed up. And showing up is the hardest part. And then they prevailed, which shows they have grit, they have determination, they have persistence. And they're exactly the kind of people that every employer wants to hire. They are culture changers in the eyes of, they bring different perspectives, different backgrounds, different circumstances. They're exactly the human capital that every employer needs.
I absolutely love it. So I recently read an article that had a statistic in there that the greatest predictor of a child's educational attainment in their lifetime is the education of their mom. And I was like, wow, just think about all the students that I've worked with over the years that were moms that were, bettering themselves. And the way that filters down is truly a way that we can change, at least begin to change generational poverty. And for the longest time, I think the hardest 3 words for individuals is often, no, I can't. And we've changed that to yes, you can. And with our adult education systems in the country and the support of GED testing service, kind of just love it. I'm here in DC this week, and we're going to be up on Capitol Hill tomorrow. We're flooding the Hill with all of our awesome advocates that are going to be up meeting with legislators and people around the country, just so we're clear that Adult Education and Family Literacy Week isn't just here in DC, it's all over the country. And we're really going to be meeting with legislators and those people that can change policy and make change happen. So in order to really get the message out. But I'm curious, for the legislators that we're going to be in front of, what would you like them to hear from GED Testing Service?
I think that, one of the things that we always fight and we always are looking for is funding. And how can we reach more learners? What we know is, whether we all like it or not, is not every learner learns the same way. And what we also know is that we have lots of learners out there who need to learn English. We know lots of learners that have learning disabilities that went undiagnosed in K through 12. We have lots of learners that have life circumstances and may need some mental health assistance. And so what I would say is that we need to start looking at the broader spectrum of outside of K through 12 and really looking at adult ed, knowing that every employer is looking for more employees. Everyone is looking to fill the gap, knowing that the baby boomers are retiring at a really fast rate. We know that the job market is really in need of men and women in the construction industry, in healthcare and technology, in retail. I mean, all of those spaces. And so to me, adult ed is exactly the spot that everyone should be looking, and legislatures is no different. And we need to make sure that we have the right funding available to really help these adult learners to put them on a path for success.
Yeah, so I completely agree. And it's not just funding for the programs, it's also funding for those wraparound support services. Rebecca mentioned in the chat box, that funding for childcare and making it a little bit easier for moms and dads to come to the classes so that they can get support services from the adult educators that are across the country. In little things, I think for the longest time we thought that education was contained within the 4 walls of our classrooms, and we're beginning to understand a lot better that it really is about outside of what happens outside of those walls, where persistence has its challenges, and really providing things like helping provide diapers and those basic challenges that people face in raising their families and in the community. And GED Testing Service certainly has so many resources and tools on their website. Absolutely love the fact that this is National GED Day to get us off and rolling. So thank you so much for that. I do want to, before we let you go, I do want to just ask you one last question, which is your magic wand. I'm going to give it to you today. I've give it to some, and others we give another question, but for you, I'm going to give you the magic wand today. And if you could change one thing when it comes to adult education in our country, what would it be, and what recommendation do you have for as a result of that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a podcast last week and we talked about the magic wand, and my magic wand is that every human out there is seen the exact same way. And we talk about someone who earns a GED versus a high school diploma. And to me, it has no relevance. The relevance is we have an individual that shows their skills and abilities, and they earn their high school diploma. And I also, in that magic wand, I want every single individual to take the time to get to know a GED graduate, or find someone who needs to earn their GED and invest in them and build their confidence and let them know the skills and the abilities that they have. Because this is not about someone not wanting to go get their GED. It's because they have we know the number one reason someone doesn't earn their GED is fear of failure. And most of those adults really struggle in K through 12. They may not have had a mom that also received their education. They may not have had a family that education was really the focus. Lots of other family focuses that moved away from education as the main source. And so take the magic wand and say, invest in human capital, invest in people, and get to know GED learners and find those individuals who still need to earn their GED and help them.
I love it. Vicki Greene, thank you so much for being with us today.
you.
Good luck with National GED Day. I love it. And keep up the great work. We're really proud. In the last 5 years, we had 879 high school equivalencies through COABE. And that's kind
Amazing.
of remarkable. So we're really proud of it. And we're proud of our partnership with GED. So testing services. So thank you so much. We're going to move on. We have about 15 minutes left, and we have some great guests. So you want to get out there and make sure National GED Day, big deal today. But our next guests are some great individuals. We have Jenny Walker, Executive Director of Literacy Texas, is going to be on. We have Angelique Maguire. There they are. And
Good morning.
yeah, how are you? Who is
Hey.
IECC Director of Adult Education and Institutional Services. How are you both?
Hi.
Wonderful.
Good. Happy Monday. Happy launch of AEFL week. We're really excited. So this is no particular order, Jenny. You just happen to be on the top of my list. So we're gonna hit you first. Can you tell us a little about yourself and the work you do?
Hi, I'm Jenny Walker, and I'm Executive Director of Literacy Texas. We're a statewide coalition of community-based organizations that support adult learning, and we partner with a lot of our adult education programs as almost like a feeder program to help those lower level learners get up to speed so they can integrate into those adult ed programs and the workforce programs.
So you are by definition the village. When you say it takes a
Yes.
village, you're the village. You're like, you got it
Yes.
all. You got everybody there. I love it. We're going to get to you in a second. Angelique,
Okay.
can you introduce yourself and the work you do?
Yeah, my name is Angelique Maguire. Again, I'm on the IECC Illinois Eastern Community College's Director of Adult Education Instructional Services. And I also am the SAAEF Fellow for this year for COABE. I am on the IASA board, and I work with ICCB and the advisory committee. And this year we have instituted it's an Illinois State Advocacy Group. And so that's the Adult and Continuing Education Workforce Development Committee. And so we are comprised of employers and workforce development agencies and community colleges, other educators, community-based organizations across the state of Illinois, along with some of our legislators. Legislative champions have joined us. And so I have about 74 members on our committee now. We meet once a month, and we are actually going out and working together to provide success stories for adult education and workforce development.
So shamelessly, I'll plug that I do sit in on your meetings and participate. Yeah, it's really kind of great. Adult Education and Family Literacy Week 2024 is kicking off today, and you both are in the center of this storm, because it's an awesome storm to be in, by the way, because it really is making change happen. And Jenny, I think for the longest time we just never really understood the connection to community. And what this does to build communities, if you can get people smarter and help them find their career pathway, how important that all is. Can you share a little bit about your the work you do in that context, and what are you doing to help educate students seeking education succeed, adult learners?
So we work in a variety of areas. We work in language learning, adult basic education, workforce skills, workforce preparation, In family literacy, that's a big piece of what we're trying to do in Texas. We know in Texas about 28% of our adults are on about a level 1. And what's very important to me personally, coming from a background in public education, is that we have a lot of children going home to parents who are not up to speed. And when you're on a level 1 and you have a child at home at a level 2 who needs help with homework, that creates a problem. And what we see a lot of times is that it's not that the parents don't want to help or that they're not you know, trying to be supportive of their children. They just don't have the ability to do so. And particularly our border counties in Texas are really struggling there with those low literacy levels. And so to me, it's not just about helping the men and women that are in our programs every day, but it's looking forward to that next generation and making sure that we give them the best possible chance to start by having that family support in that unit. And so so our whole mission in Texas is to really help them in a holistic way and make sure that they have everything that they need in order to best provide for themselves and their families.
There's something magical about watching a parent work with a child
Yeah.
and help teach them fractions or learn together with them while they're in those classes together. Just absolutely incredible. And Texas is doing
Yeah.
such a great job connecting adult learners and giving them those skills so that they can really move forward. Angelique, I know that the work you're doing too is also centered on not only getting people smarter, but all those other things that come around it. You know, digital literacy skills and financial
Yes.
literacy skills and understanding it. Can you talk a little bit in that context? How important is education connecting them into the workforce?
It's absolutely important. It's very paramount that we are teaching our adult learners digital literacy and financial literacy. We need to do that within our classrooms, but we also need to employ the resources of our employers and what it is their needs are for the adult learners so that we are listening to those needs and we are matching those adult learners to substantial employment and providing our communities an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, we're celebrating Adult Education Family Literacy Week this week. And one of the things that's happening is we're really getting into the weeds. We're meeting with legislators, we're meeting with congressmen, we're meeting locally with mayors, anyone that really has an impact on adult education and adult literacy. And, you know, want to give a huge shout out to our state, our SAAEF Fellows. I'm just so proud of all the work our state advocates for adult education fellows across the country are doing a remarkable job at really getting people aware of how important adult literacy is in our country. And we can see this on that Padlet that COABE has with all the proclamations across the country that have just blossomed everywhere. Like every day there's somebody else getting a proclamation introduced about the importance of adult literacy and adult education. So huge shout out to all of our fellows and to yourself for all the great work you guys are doing this year. It's tremendous. But we are here being mindful this week that we want to see change happen. And I'm wondering if you could help guide our audience, both of you. So Jenny, we'll kick it off with you first. If you can tell us, like, what is it you want the people out there listening and legislators and anyone that's in a position of being impactful for adult educators, what do you want them to know? What is it that they need to know in order to maybe make the system a lot better?
Well, I think the most important thing for us to communicate this week is how connected adult literacy and adult education is to every other system. And if we look at a lot of the major issues that we have in our country and things that don't seem to be related to adult education, but are absolutely connected, research tells us there's a lot of correlations to literacy and education levels in our justice system, in our economic development. So if we want to really grow and expand every area of the United States, we have to start with those fundamental needs that are met by really educating and building up those adult learners. Because I think if we solve that problem, it's kind of a root issue that will um, positively impact a lot of other systems. And so I think just looking at this from a larger systematic perspective, I think is what I would hope that we can communicate in the way that addressing adult literacy and adult education really will make a difference in so many other areas.
I love it. Angelique, what do you got?
So I would go ahead and piggyback off of that our communities are going to thrive with partnerships. We need to educate our legislators that not only are there adult learners out there that are needing employment, that are needing sustainable wages for their families, but they are needing equitable access to technology. They are needing equitable access to the resources that they can help us provide. And they also are needing that opportunity to grow in workforce development areas. So if we educate our legislators and provide them an awareness of what our communities offer them, then our educators can in turn help, or our legislators can in turn help us to grow within.
Yeah, it's so important. I think, you know, we often think about legislation and targeting money and getting additional funding, but it's often the little things that we can put into legislation that could be most impactful in helping people just overcome some of those barriers that stand in their way of getting smarter and getting into the workforce. And so important, including things like digital literacy. We are at COABE, we're super proud that over the last 5 years, we've helped over 1 million people get connected to employment through adult education. And that is something that speaks volumes of not only the importance of adult education, the great work of our of COABE, but how important it is for legislators to really understand all of that and move forward. So we are here. I'm super excited to be in DC this week. I love the fact that we're going up onto the Hill. We're going to be meeting with people that really can make change happen, from our Office of Adult Education, U.S. Department of Education, as well as senators and congressmen and people in the government that we really think can have an impact on the work that we do. But I want you to close us out just quickly with you know, what is it you want people to know this week? Give us your mantra for the week going out with AEFL week. Angelique, kick us off. What do you want everybody to do this week?
I would like everyone to be a constant voice for adult education. Be an advocate. No matter where you go, be an advocate for your fellow peers within your communities. Grow your communities. Be transparent about what you do, and show, just shine for adult education. This entire year, just work with your fellow employers, work with your educators, work with the workforce development, work with the wraparound services, the community action agencies. Just pull them together and allow your communities to grow and shine.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Jenny, what do you got for us?
I would just echo all of those things, and also just say that everybody who works with adult learners, I really want to empower them to be advocates. To be an advocate, you don't have to have a lot of training. You don't have to be someone who really understands how all of the government pieces work together. You just have to be someone who is passionate about what you do and who can talk about the great stories that are happening every single day in our classrooms, and every single success story, share those out, and making sure that people understand how it's not just you know, data and numbers, but these are names and faces and stories whose lives are forever changed because of the work happening in adult learning.
I love it. I love it. Thank you both so much for being with us today, Angelique and Jenny. You guys are doing remarkable work, and keep it up. For adult education, family literacy, we're almost out of time today, but I do want to just let everybody know that this is just a start. The rest of the week, check in 9 o'clock, put it on your calendar, get up with me, get your coffee or a few cups as I had this morning already, and let's kick off this week and keep it going. But do the little things throughout the week that can make change happen for Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. Mindful today, at 11 o'clock today is our kickoff with Dr. Amy Lloyd, Latoya Newsom, Shaketta Thomas, and Sharon Bonney. You want to make sure you don't want to miss this. It's a great way to start your week off. It's at 11 o'clock today. And thank you so much for rise and shining with me and getting up this morning. And my name is Jeff Abramowitz. We'll be here tomorrow again at 9 o'clock, and looking forward to it. So I'm going to take us out with how we came in today with a little bit of music. Take care, everybody. Oh, maybe not. I think our music's stuck. But have a good day, everybody.